Hello guys, it's me Simo Unohana, and in this video we will talk about the reason or reasons that might have made Unohana Yachiro give up the leadership of Division 11 and become the leader of the 4th Division. Not only that, but her entire personality transforms into a person far away from what she was before. But before we start guys, I need your reaction. Don't forget to support this video by your likes and comments to increase its reach so other fans can watch it. And as always, big thanks to the ones who support Simo, either the memberships of my channel or on Patreon. Thank you guys so much. In fact, I have talked about this before because it's one of the topics that I find really interesting and want to learn more about it. And back then, the problem we had at the time was that we didn't know exactly when the first battle of Zaraki and Unohana took place, because I considered, and still do, that that battle was important in Unohana's life, and that is may have contributed to what Unohana later became. But with the arrival of the anime, it became evident that the battle occurred after the war between the Quincy's and the Shinigami. It is true that in the regular version of the anime, Unohana appeared with the scar, but in the Blu-ray the matter was corrected. Therefore, the battle that took place between Zaraki and Unohana was after the war. Of course, the time of the battle is important, as I said, because it shows that Unohana, even after the first Quincy War, she was still a Kenpachi, meaning that it can be said that a century or more will have passed and Unohana is still the captain of the 11th Division. And as seen in the flashback of Zaraki and Unohana, the battle took place a few hundred years ago, meaning we might say that the time of the battle may have been between 700 and 800 years ago. And this is an important factor because, as I always say, in my opinion, the reason that may have made Unohana give up the position of Division 11 is due to two reasons, namely Kirinji and Zaraki. So, as we said, Unohana was still the first Kenpachi in the centuries following the war. This means that Kirinji was present in the Gote 13 at the time. Previously, we thought that Kirinji was one of the original Gote 13 because of this character, but it turned out in the anime that he was the leader of Squad 7. So I think Kirinji will be from the 2nd or the 3rd generation that came after the 1st generation of the Gote. We don't know which division was led by Kirinji, but mostly it will be the 4th division, and Chijima Chigiri was its first captain. So was this captain the one who initially established the foundations for the division as a hidden unit? Frankly, I don't think so, but I think that the division's direction may have begun to appear with the arrival of Kirinji, who invented Kaido, the hidden techniques that the Shinigami have been using up until now. Therefore, I say that after Chijima is gone, Kirinji had taken his position while Unohana was still the captain of the Squad 11 and held the title of Kenpachi. Unohana, as is known, was a famous criminal before she was with Yamamoto in the Gote. She was fond of fighting and enjoying battle. It is possible that her early involvement with the Gote fulfilled those desires for her, and the situation continued like this until she met Kirinji, who at the time had the nickname of the Lightning Demon and also who invented the Kaido. And apparently, when Unohana learned that Kirinji had the ability to treat wounds with this method called Kaido, she turned to him in order to learn this technique. And the reason, as she herself said, was to enjoy fighting more. And honestly, this is one of the things that I would like to know about the relationship between Kirinji and Unohana. I would like to know how each one of them dealt with the other. Was it the same treatment that we saw when they met after the end of the first invasion? Or was there a relationship of respect in the beginning? But in any case, it seems that Unohana spent her time learning Kaido from Kirinji, and at the same time went looking for someone to fight. And I don't think that Unohana's search for someone to fight stemmed only from her desire to enjoy fighting, but also because she had the title of Kenpachi, and therefore she was always looking for someone to fight, the strongest, so she could maintain her title and at the same time achieve what she wanted from fighting. However, the appearance of young Zaraki changed everything for Unohana. The young Zaraki's fighting style and his great power and how he surpassed her and almost defeated her, it made Unohana discovered and saw that this boy was the one who deserved the title of Kenpachi. Therefore, I might say that this event may be the main reason for Unohana to abandon her title of Kenpachi and move towards taking the leadership of the 4th division. But how will this happen? Here we will move to the second reason, which is Kirinji's promotion to 0 division. And as we know, the reason that enabled Kirinji to go to Squad 0 was that he was able to invent the Kaido, Therefore, Kirinji's going from the Sereti to the royal palace will deprive the Gute of the great services that he was providing, which is healing the Shinigami's wounds. That's why I think with Kirinji's going to Squad Zero, the Gute had to find someone who had the scales of Kaido as well, so that he could complete what Kirinji started and become the one who would heal others, as well as teach Kaido techniques. And yes, there is no doubt that the person who was most proficient in Kaido after Kirinji was Unohana Yachiro, and therefore the going of Kirinji would have forced her to join the 4th Division. But in my personal opinion, even though this reason is considered valid, Unohana needed another motive to make her leave the leadership of one of the strongest divisions in the Gute, which is the 11th Division, and the title of Kenpachi. And this motive is the first reason: what happened to her with the young Zaraki, and how she saw herself as not deserving of that title made her see Kirinji's going to Zero Squad as an opportunity to leave the leadership of the 11th Division and take the leadership of the 4th Division. And as far I can see, Unohana deep down didn't hand over the title of Kenpachi, but rather handed over the leadership of the 11th Division to another person, who is probably her vice captain. Meaning like what happened with the 8th Kenpachi. When he was imprisoned in the Mukin, he was no longer there to lead Squad 11, so his vice captain had become the new captain of the 11th Squad, and thus he became called the 9th Kenpachi. Therefore, I believe that this is what happened to Unohana. She handed over the leadership of the squad to her vice captain, and so the rest considered him the 2nd Kenpachi, while in reality Unohana didn't see anyone worthy of that title except Zaraki. Therefore guys, I see these two reasons as the reasons that made Unohana give up the leadership of Squad 11 and became the leader of the 4th Squad. And that's why I believe Unohana didn't view the other captains who had assumed leadership of the 11th Division as a Kenpachi, without bestowing the title through a battle. She didn't acknowledge anyone else as a Kenpachi. She understood that only Zaraki was capable of inheriting her title, no one else. Ultimately, this evolution in Unohana's character stands as one of the most impactful plot twists that Kobo crafted in the story of Bleach. It not only deepened the lore of the series, but also added layers of complexity to the characters and their relationships. In the end guys, what do you think about this subject? Why Unohana gave up her title, the Kenpachi, and the leadership of the 11th Division, and suddenly she took the leadership of the 4th Division and became an angel of mercy after she was the most criminal Shinigami in the Soul Society. Give me guys your opinions in the comments and see you in my next video.